Pondicherry Engineering College, and I am also looking after the Atal Incubation Center here. Atal Incubation Center is a incubation center which is supported by Atal Innovation Mission, Nidhi Aayog, Government of India. This is a central government funded incubation center situated inside Pondicherry Engineering College campus. Our important focus areas include electronics design and manufacturing, Internet of Things, and unmanned aerial vehicles. These are the three focus areas which we serve. Most of our support services revolve around these focus areas. But then, having said that, we are open to any kind of innovation. So what exactly an incubation center is? An incubation center takes an innovation from an innovator and then helps that innovator to convert that particular innovation into a commercial grade product and convert that product into a viable business. So that is what we do in a nutshell. And our core services include, we provide a state-of-the-art workspace. You can run your company within our incubation center. We provide co-working space. We also offer other infrastructure facilities like conferencing facilities and other communication facilities for uninterrupted interaction with mentors. We also have a state-of-the-art lab facility, prototyping facility, which you can quickly prototype your product and then reduce the lead time. We are in the process of setting that up. And then we also provide product design and development support. If you come with an innovative idea, but you doesn't know how to convert that into a commercial grade product, we will help you to do that. And we have done that in the past. And we also provide technology support in terms of product optimization. We impart quality mentorship to the incubators. We have a very strong tie-up with our industry bodies and other partners. And we offer strong guidance and mentorship support for the incubators. And we also offer a lot of compliance support, right from company formation till bookkeeping. We provide all sorts of legal compliance, including the financial management part. Pondicherry Engineering College is one of the top universities and top engineering colleges in the country. And we provide manpower for your startups by inducting them as interns. You can quickly induct few interns within the premises and then kickstart your company without investing too much on the manpower. And student members can actually engage with us as members. You can go to www.aicpecfoundation.org and register yourself as a student member, and you can take part in a lot of skill development programs and internships and technology partnership events and outreach events that we conduct in future. And I also extend a warm welcome to all the academic partners out there. One of the academic partner has joined hand today in conducting this particular training program. Likewise, you can engage with us and then take part in collaborative training programs that we offer in future. You can also engage with us in converting potential innovations from your institute and then convert it into a commercial grade product. So it's a great boon for the academia. So I request all the academic friends, most of you are principals and directors and faculty members from other institutes. So I would request all of you to request for an MOU. The link for requesting for an MOU is available in our website. In the homepage itself, you can request for an MOU. So once you formally engage with us through an MOU, it gives you endless possibilities for engaging with us. And we also engage with the industrial and corporate partners for collaborative product development, and we engage them for mentorship support also. So we extend a warm welcome to this to industry partners also. And faculty members also can make use of this internship for the incubation facility by applying for free membership and then take part in collaborative training programs, skill development events. And you can also incubate your company in case if you come out with an innovative product. And we open-heartedly welcome all the mentors and investors out there to be a part of this exciting ecosystem so that you share your knowledge and skill for the budding entrepreneurs to succeed in their entrepreneurial venture. And these are some of our partners. So all the partner engagement, we engage with the various partners in different verticals, right from academic institutes, students, and then innovators, startups, and then industry bodies, and then mentors. So we engage all of them at various capacities for have a collaborative effort. So you can go to our website, and then all the information pertaining to this are available in the home page, and you can just click a link and then engage with us. That would help us to engage with you in future. So that's a small introduction I would like to give. I hope it's time for us to kickstart the event. So let us straight away go and start the event. Many of you are saying that the voice is not audible. Is that okay now? Whether the voice is audible now, all of you? In case if you are not able to hear my voice properly, please let me know so that I can accordingly adjust my voice. Yeah, thank you. Right, I think it's time for us to start the event, and let us proceed. This is something that I wanted to tell you. For all the innovators who come up with an innovative idea, you can take the help for incubation support. For all the industries and academia, you can sign an MOU with us, and you can collaborate with us. For teachers and students, you can apply for free membership with us, and they can enjoy countless benefits that we offer. We also welcome all the mentors and investors to be a part of this support system. So that's all I wanted to share you through this platform. So with these few words, let us move on to today's agenda. Today's agenda is only 4. In fact, I need to put an introduction here. Okay. So we have a 4-point agenda today. So let us have some basic introduction today pertaining to what are we trying to do. And then we will see what is Arduino, what are the basic features of Arduino, and then what are all the powerful things that you can do with that. And we also finally see how to use Arduino for designing innovative projects. So for this particular session, I am not assuming any prior knowledge from the participants pertaining to what is Arduino, or for that matter, you need not have to be an electronics, a person with electronics background either. So if you know some basic physics, and if you have some basic information pertaining to what is voltage, current, and all, which you would have anyway studied in your high school physics, that information is pretty much sufficient. So this is basically an eye-opener session for all of you to understand what exactly this platform is and how can we use this particular platform for innovative product design and development. So that is the core agenda. So I am not assuming any prior skill set or prior knowledge from you for this particular session. So even if you are absolutely zero in electronics, that doesn't matter. You can spend the next 60 to 90 minutes for this particular session I'm sure that you would definitely learn something useful. So let us start. So let me start with the introductory part first. So I would like to put the introduction with the very basic question. So if I ask what is this you are seeing in the screen, probably that is a too elementary question for all of you. All of you must be able to answer that this is a personal computer. So any layman who doesn't have any technical knowledge whatsoever can very easily tell that this is a personal computer, because it is quite obvious that once you see that I have a big screen over here, I have a big CPU over here, I have a keyboard and a mouse. So this information would immediately tell somebody that this is a personal computer. So there is no nothing complicated here, right? So if I show this particular hardware and ask someone what is this, then probably they can tell very easily that this is a washing machine which is used for washing your day-to-day clothes and laundry, and then they put the dirty cloths here and then wash it and then take it out. So this is also a pretty straightforward machine which we use on daily basis. But the thing is, I would like to know from you, is there any relationship between this particular product that I have shown in the very first slide and the second product that I have shown in the second slide? And okay, are they similar in some regards, or is there any differences, or what is your opinion about that? That is probably, had it been an interactive class, I would have asked these questions to you and got your answers. But then, since we are geographically separated by a large distance because of this COVID, anyway, I am assuming that you would be knowing these answers. For your understanding, I'm just throwing some of them. One is, what is the similarity that exists between these two devices? First one, I said that it is a PC. Second one, can I say this one also a personal computer or a computer? Can I call this particular machine, a washing machine, as a computer? Okay, so is this anyway possible that I can call this particular washing machine, which is washing cloth or laundry, as a computer by any chance? Probably some of you may say yes, but majority of you say no, so it is not a computer, it is a washing machine. For your information, and the thing is, this particular machine is also a computer. So that is something that I wanted to assert in the very first slide. A washing machine, what you are seeing in the slide, is pretty much similar to a computer. In fact, it is a computer. Then why do we say this is a personal computer and not this one? Okay, probably if I compare these two, you will get a better idea. So I am putting my personal computer on the left hand side, on the washing machine on the right hand side for comparison. Let us see what are the similarities of these two machines, these two hardware. Right. First and foremost, this particular machine, anyone can say that this is having a motherboard or a CPU inside that is actually driving the machine. Right. Those who don't know about this particular machine also has a motherboard and there is a powerful CPU sitting inside. Okay, that is the first similarity. Number two, this particular device also has a lot of input devices. What are the input devices that you have here? I have a keyboard and I have a mouse. This particular device also has a lot of input devices. What are the input devices that this particular device has? This is having a knob, a rotary knob. Why do we use that rotary knob? To set what is the quantum of wash that I want, whether it is a light wash or a heavy wash or a medium wash. There are a lot of switches to determine what is the temperature level or whatever it is. And just like you have a keyboard, we are also having a few buttons over here. So there are input devices as well here. So we don't have a very big keyboard, but we do have small switches and knobs. Those are all the input devices for this device. This also has a CPU. This also has an input device. How about an output device? You have a very big screen here, typically an LED or an LCD screen. And you also have a small screen over here. Okay, so there is an output device also. Okay, so you have a CPU, you have an input device, you have an output device. Coming back to the functionality, so this is also having an input device, an output device, and a CPU. So because of these features, this is pretty much in line with what a computer does. So I can very well call this as a computer. But what kind of computer it is? This computer is a general purpose computer. You know why it is called as a general purpose computer? It is not meant for any unique application. Today I run some application. I am running my PowerPoint presentation now. Tomorrow I can run the same machine for some other application. Day after tomorrow I can run for some other application. So it is not targeted for any particular application. Whereas here, this particular device is actually targeted for one unique application throughout its lifetime. And what is that? It is washing my laundry, washing my cloth. That is the only job that this particular computer does. So the definition of a washing machine is it is a computer, but rather application specific computer. What is application specific computer means? A computer which always does only one job throughout its lifetime, and it will never do any other job. Such computers are called application specific computers. So probably you may now understand a washing machine is a powerful computer, but the job of that powerful computer is not a general purpose one. Rather, it is used for performing only one unique application throughout its lifetime. I hope you are following what I am discussing here. Okay, so now what are the other application specific computers that we do on daily basis? I can give a lot of examples. This is a microwave oven. This is another application specific computer. The job of this microwave oven is to cook food, delicious food. So that is the only job that this particular device will do throughout its lifetime. And just like any other computer, it has input devices, it also has an output device, and it also has a CPU inside. So this is again an application specific computer. How about this? This is another application specific computer. This is called a dishwasher. The job of this dishwasher is to wash your all your dishes at home, utensils at home. So this is again application specific. So you have hundreds of such application specific computers available at home. We keep on use them on daily basis without knowing that there is a hidden computer sitting inside doing all these activities. Okay, so we come across lots of such machines on daily basis. The common similarity of all these machines, whatever we are using, is there is a powerful computer sitting inside. Computer embedded inside. Embedded inside. Embedded means something which is hidden inside. Okay, there are lots of other examples I can give: VCD players, DVD players, digital cameras, lots of examples, security systems. I can give hundreds of such examples which we are using on daily basis without knowing that there is a powerful computer sitting inside. What we are going to do today is using one such machine for developing a product. So what is a product essentially? Many of you who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, or many of you who are aspiring to design products, should know what exactly a product is. A product is a system. A product is a system which solves a problem. A product is a system which solves a problem. All the product development in this world revolve around this single statement. Okay, all the products are designed and delivered to customers to solve the problems of customers. What are the problems solved by these machines? This machine solve the problem of manual washing. This machine solves the problem of manual cooking. And this particular machine solves the problem of monotonous washing of the dishes, utensils. So it is helping somebody in some way, and it is creating some value to customers. Creating value. It is creating value to customers. Thereby, people are happy to buy it by paying money. That is the essence of product development. By product development, you as a designer should empathize somebody and create value to somebody by solving a problem that these people are struggling with on daily basis. So that is the key component that you should take into consideration when you are designing a product. Let us take a small example. Here is Mr. X. Mr. X is trying to move this particular iron block, which is pretty heavy for him. There are two entrepreneurs who are trying to give solutions for Mr. X. One entrepreneur is coming with a solution of giving a rope like this, which can be connected to this iron bar, and he is asking the customer, I have designed a high quality rope which you can connect with this block and then you can pull. That will help you to move this block with much ease. This is the solution that is given by the problem of the customer by the first designer. The second designer, on the other hand, comes with an innovative solution of putting some rollers, and then he is able to move that iron block with much ease. Which of these two solutions do you think will delight the customer? And which of these two solutions do you think the customer would be happy to pay and get the product? Of the two, certainly this is the one which the customer would be happy to buy, and not this. So that is something you as a designer should keep in mind when you are designing a product. When you are always designing a product, keep customer first. Design customer centric products. Okay, so this is something that I always tell the innovators. You always ensure whether the problem that you are solving is really worth solving. What do you mean by a problem which is worth solving? If you offer solution to a customer, the customer should be delighted to buy that particular product by paying money to you. Okay, unless a customer is ready to pay money to your solution, that particular problem what you're attempting is not worth solving. Probably the customer can say, okay, this is a nice to have solution, I would be happy to have it, but then I'm not willing to pay money for it. Then there is nothing nothing interesting in pursuing that particular problem and finding solutions for it. Probably you can do that for learning purpose, for hobby purpose, but for business per se, finding solutions for those kind of problems doesn't make fruitful outcome. So identifying a problem which is worth solving means you have to find a solution to a problem to a customer which the customer should be ready to pay for it. So that is what it is. There are hundreds and hundreds of such problems that are prevailing in our day-to-day life, which we are not paying any attention to. I request all the student friends out there, innovators out there, faculty members out there, to focus on those unsolved problems and find out solutions for them. Thereby, you not only become an entrepreneur, but also provide a lot of job opportunities to others. Thereby, improve our country's economy. So that is something pertaining to what is basics of product development. Second, if you are going to design a product by using Arduino, what are the things that you have to understand? So that is my second part. Let us move on. So what is Arduino basically? So an Arduino is basically an open source electronics platform that is based on easy to use hardware and software. Okay, so don't confuse yourself. Arduino is an open source electronic platform. It can be used for designing products, that is built on top of easy to use hardware and software. Okay, so that is the standard definition. What do you mean by open source? Open source means it is license free. You can take that particular hardware and software platform and you can design commercial grade products and then you can deploy them in the market. So this is the Arduino board that is available in the market. So you can imagine Arduino board as a small motherboard. There is a small motherboard. This motherboard has a small CPU in here. Okay. Using this motherboard and CPU, I can design a small product by putting everything together and by just like your washing machine example, I can quickly connect some input and output devices and some sensors and then can quickly deploy the product in no time. So that is Arduino. Arduino is an open source electronics platform that is easy, that is based on easy to use hardware and software, which will help you for rapid product development. You typically require no electronics or computing background to use Arduino. That is my experience. Probably you will discover that once you start using it. What you are having on the right side is a small Arduino board that is developed by our incubation center for the use of students and faculty community. This is designed by our incubation center. This is pretty much similar in line with the standard Arduino board that is available in the market, but it has a lot of extra features that will help you out to test variety of peripheral devices when you are designing products. We will discuss them one by one when we are moving further. Okay, so an Arduino is a small motherboard with a CPU inside, which will help you to design product in no time. So that is the information that you wanted to learn. I always use layman's language because I don't believe in complicating things. Let us keep it simple. So if you wanted to tell a kid, a small 5th standard kid, what an Arduino is, probably you can tell him an Arduino is something similar to Aladdin's lamp. You know the magic lamp of Aladdin? So this magic lamp is having a genie inside. This genie inside will do whatever you wish, whatever you want. So this particular Arduino is pretty much similar to the magic lamp of Aladdin. It is that much powerful. That is how you should tell your kid. I am sure that many of them are watching today. So I'm just telling them, you are having a powerful Aladdin lamp with you. So what this Aladdin lamp does essentially, the Aladdin lamp, is having a genie inside. This Aladdin lamp, you have to do two things. First one, if you rub this particular lamp and activate this lamp, this genie will come out. And then you give commands to this genie and then tell this genie what you want to do. So this genie is a very powerful slave. He can do wonders to you. You can make this genie to do whatever you want. Whatever complex job you want, he will be readily performing all those things. He is that powerful. So how beautiful it is if you are going to have a genie for you. It is this board that does the job for you. So there are two steps involved here. What is the first step? You have to make the genie to come out. For that, you need to rub the lamp. So here is my Aladdin lamp. So how am I going to activate this lamp? I need to activate it. How am I going to activate it? I am going to power this first. There are two options for powering this. Either you can power this particular board by connecting an USB to your personal computer. This is my PC or laptop. So you connect this board to your PC or laptop by using a USB cable and then you power it. So this is equivalent to rubbing this lamp because the genie will not automatically come out. You have to do something for that particular lamp. Only then the genie will come out. So this particular board, for the genie to come out, you need to power this board. Either you can power this by using USB or you can use an external adapter to power this. Either ways you can power it. Once you power that, then there is a powerful genie that is sitting inside this board. Who is that? It is this particular device. This particular device is as powerful as this particular genie. Okay, it is capable of performing powerful operations and it will help you to design applications and you can do wonders using that powerful Genie. Okay, so this device is called technically a microcontroller. You don't have to know what a microcontroller is, but you just understand a microcontroller is similar to your CPU in your computer, which does lot of powerful job. So this particular microcontroller is as powerful as a Genie which is sitting inside the Aladdin's lamp. So my job is to give command to this particular slave. My job as a designer is to make this particular slave to perform whatever I wanted to do by virtue of giving some commands to it. That's what. Once I do that, this particular Genie will do whatever I want. Okay, so from now on, we are not going to use this fancy word called microcontroller. So this is for technical people. Let us not get into that side. Let us use this word. I am going to use this word as Genie, so that is equivalent. So this microcontroller is a Genie for me. So he is a slave for me, who is a powerful slave who does all the job that I want. So that is how. So hereafter, when I use the word Genie, you should know that it is a microcontroller. So that's what it is. What is this Genie can do for you? Okay. 3 important terms that you have to understand. One, this Genie is a very powerful slave. Okay. Very, very, very powerful slave. He will do whatever you wanted to do. He can do literally anything for you, any powerful task for you. And what is the limiting factor here? The limiting factor is limited only by your ability to command the Genie. What is the meaning of this? The quantum of job or the volume of job that this Genie is going to do is limited not by the Genie's capability, but by your capability of commanding the Genie. The more you interact with this fellow, the more you command that, the more comfortable you are in interacting with that Genie, the better your outcome is. So that is the limiting factor. It is not limited by the ability of this particular Genie, but by your ability to command the Genie. So people who are able to communicate with this Genie better, they are able to come out with better products, and they are able to make big money in market by designing a lot of useful products. So this is how it is. This is how it works. So your ability to interact with this particular Genie is the deciding factor of how smart you are in handling that particular device. With this basic introduction, let me move on and take you with a small glimpse of what is the power of this particular Genie, and what are all the important things that you can do. Okay, so just a glimpse of what are all the activities that you can do with this Genie. I'm just showing a small presentation here for you. Don't get overwhelmed by that presentation. It is so simple, but then probably when you are seeing that for the very first time, it may give you some surprises. Let us not get carried away by that. The first thing, we just made a few things for your presentation. The first thing is we built a small drone or a quadcopter. You know what a quadcopter or a drone is. Here is the central device. This central device is powered by our Genie, and this Genie is acting as the flight controller for this particular drone, and it will help you out to design and develop a drone. So let me quickly show you what exactly it is. So this is a small drone that we designed by using the Arduino board that I have shown you just now. This is not a autopilot powered board. It is a manual controlled board. So the flight controller inside that is controlled manually. And this particular drone, you can use it for a variety of purpose, for aerial surveying, for surveillance, for security device, and for for agriculture purpose, for spraying pesticides. You can sky is your limit. You can use this particular device for a variety of purpose. We are in the process of launching a workshop on how to build this quadcopter or a drone on your own, self-made drone. This is not built by using any external components. We are doing this by using the Genie that I have discussed. So pretty much a useful device. So this is being tested in the ground of Pondicherry Engineering College. I'm just showcasing that for your understanding. One thing, don't get, don't complicate things. I'm just showing you what are the possibilities of doing that. The second one is a touch-free sanitizer dispenser, which we recently built along with few innovators and handed over that to government of Puducherry. You know how a sanitizer works. More often if you see in the industrial places, people are using pedaled ones or doing some manually pressed sanitizer machines. That is not healthy in this situation. We are just going for some cost effective or a very inexpensive sanitizer dispenser, which is touchless. Touchless means what? You can straight away show your hand to a sanitizer device and it automatically dispense you the sanitizer, so that you don't have the possibilities of getting infected. So I'm just giving you a quick glimpse of what are the possible ways in which you can use this particular device. Don't get overwhelmed by this because of seeing a lot of wires here and there. They are nothing actually. Once you start using them, you will understand very easily how it works. So here is a sensor. This sensor is the one which is detecting your presence of your manual hand. And the moment you take your hand, is dispensing the sanitizer from the bottle. So here is a small solenoid valve. This valve takes that particular dispenser and then it is pushing out. So this is the small sensor here. The entire operation is governed by this particular Genie that I am talking about. This is a small relay board that controls it. Let us see all those things later on. I'm just showing a small demo of all these things. Digital water flow meter in smart cities. In future, in at least 1 or 2 years, we are going to have all these smart meters at home. Probably you must be having smart electrical meters. In future, we are going to have smart water meters. These water meters will measure what is the amount of water consumption at home and also in the industries. So the principle of this water meter is, again, we are using the same Genie for this also. For every time we needed to code the Genie and do some instructions for it. We will see how to do that. But then once you download the instruction to the Genie will control all the operations. So this particular device will do the job of measuring the flow, water flow, and then it will measure automatically what is the quantum of water that you are using, and then display it to you, and it will automatically send that to a centralized server device. So the government agencies can sit and monitor what is the amount of water that you are consuming in your home or from the industries. So that is a device that we have recently deployed, and that is still under prototype stage, and that is under production. But the principle of operation is what I'm showing you here. What you are seeing now is the flow sensor that senses the quantum of the water that is getting flowed. That is a small display device, LCD display device. And once you connect that flow sensor to the for industry bodies, we connect that to underwater pumps. For home requirements, we connect them to the distribution network. So in this case, I am just simulating that from a tank. So once you connect that particular sensor to a tank, it is just measuring what is the quantum of water that is being delivered to that water bottle, and then it will display you. That is how this particular water meter will measure what is the water consumption that you are doing at home or at industry level. So it will automatically measure that. In this case, we are just filling the bottle, and you can see what is the quantum of water that is getting dispersed. So you can measure this particular from home appliances. For home application, it will display you what is your water usage. And for industry bodies, it will measure what is the amount of water that particular industry body has extracted from the ground, and it also informs that to the government bodies through IoT. That is how it is designed. We have deployed that smart water meter to the government of Puducherry, and it is being in the process of manufacturing that. So that is something that I wanted to share you. But the principle of operation is that. So that is one thing. Moving display systems, probably you would have seen this in your demo invitation. It's a pretty similar device, pretty easy to use. And these display systems are used in a lot of shops, hospitals, banks, to display information to the customers pertaining to their nature of business. Now the government has made it mandatory that all the hospitals should install this particular facility and tell the patients pertaining to what is the number of available beds, how many patients are admitted, so on and so forth. So this is a small display. You can increase the size of the display depending upon your requirement, and then you can scroll it, and then you can blink it, and you can do a variety of operations using this display, which is again controlled by our Genie. In all the operations that I am showing, the heart of the system is our Genie. He is the one who is doing all the job for you. That understanding should be there. And gas leakage systems in industries or places where you are dealing with hazardous gases or petroleum gases, and you would like to sense the leakage of that somewhere and take a preventive action. This system is designed for that. So we use a gas sensor which senses gas leakage and then take a control action. This particular device is designed in such a way that it will also send you a text message to your mobile phone in the event of sensing gas leakage somewhere. Gas leakage pertaining to industries and gas leakage, LPG gas leakage at homes, both can be automated using this system. This particular system has the facility of sending you a text message directly to your mobile phone. That is how this particular device is designed. Again, this particular design is controlled by our Arduino board. Don't get carried away by the amount of wires that is being connected. That is a pretty ordinary connection. You can very easily do that in a couple of minutes time once you know the basics. So we are just basically simulating the gas leakage. You can see that gas level is 0, and the gas increases suddenly once you expose that sensor to the petroleum gas. So in this case, we are just exposing with a petrol bottle. So once the gas increases, it will automatically shut down the system in your home. It is also sending a text message to you. So that tells you that there is some kind of leakage happening. You can easily send text messages, voice calls by using the Genie here. So the Genie can very easily do mobile communications for you, and you can send it a lot of text messaging for you. The other thing that I wanted to show you is a distance measuring unit. If you are interested in measuring what is the range finding or distance measuring, say for example you are designing an automated cruise control system for 4-wheelers and 2-wheelers and take decisions based on what is the distance of your object. This is used for that. It is using an ultrasonic sensor. Based on the sensor, you can actually measure what is the target distance, and then you can calculate a control action based on that. So you can do a lot of accident prevention units based on this particular concept. It is using a sensor called ultrasonic sensor, and it is being displaying the what is the display, what is the distance measured in a display. So these are all some of the applications that I wanted to show you today. And last but not the least, we also automate homes. You can sit at a home, connect this particular device to your mobile phone, and then you can control all your home equipments by using your mobile phone. This particular device can be very easily paired to your mobile phone by using Bluetooth. So this particular device has a Bluetooth connectivity. If you wanted to establish a Bluetooth connectivity, you can connect this Bluetooth device here and make it Bluetooth compatible. So that is the Bluetooth device that is connecting. Once that is connected to the particular board, this particular board can now act as a Bluetooth trans receiver board. So you can pair that particular board with your mobile phone, and then you can send commands and you can take control actions based on whatever you wanted to do. So in this case, there is a small lamp. So he is trying to control that particular lamp by sending commands from the mobile phone. So you take the mobile phone, pair it with your mobile phone, and then you send commands from the mobile phone for turning that particular lamp on and off. So this is a basic concept. You can just extend this for doing all the devices at home. You can even automate your fan, lamp, including all the loads at home. So you can just see a small lamp getting turned on and off by using this particular mobile phone. So that particular lamp is turned on by sending a command from your mobile device. The Genie in this case is receiving the commands from the mobile phone, and then it is controlling the device. So that is the entire operation on all these cases is done by our Genie. So that puts off your lamp. So you can just extend this concept to any number of devices that you want. So as you wish. Okay, so that is something. So now comes the core part of our discussion. So I'm just showing this kind of things to make you understand what is the power of this Genie. So what are all the interesting products that you can build around it. Sky is your limit. Once you have some basic understanding of how to use this particular board, you can do pretty much whatever you want. So that is the power of this particular board. So that is what I wanted to show you today. So let us go to our core part, which is how to use our development board and design something. So if you are planning to build a product around our Genie or our Arduino, what are the requirements you need? So the first and foremost requirement, of course, is our Genie itself. So you need to have an Arduino board. So that is my primary requirement. Secondary requirement is any product will have a lot of input devices. That is my secondary requirement, number 2. And any product will also have a lot of output devices. That is number 3. And depending upon your project, you may also require a lot of sensing capacity or sensors. That is number 4. Last but not the least, you have to command the Genie what exactly you wanted to do. So that is the 5th one. So technically we call that as a program. So these are the 5 things that you need for designing a successful product using Arduino. Number 1, you need the Genie itself, the powerful board, number 1. Number 2, you need input devices. We don't need big keyboards like we have in computers. Input devices here means simple switches, toggle switches, or potentiometers, so on and so forth. Output devices here doesn't mean big LCD and LED screens. Here we use simple LEDs, we use simple LCD devices, we use motors, we use speakers, and we use relay devices, so on and so forth. And in order to know what is going on around the system, you should also use sensors. Various sensors are used for sensing various parameters. So the Genie, what it does, it gets the input from the input device, and then it also know what is happening around the system by measuring the parameters from the sensor. And with the knowledge of what is the command given by the master, that is us, it controls all the output devices, thereby designing an effective product. And that product should solve the problem faced by somebody. Only then it will be a successful product. Otherwise, it will be a hobby product. Okay, so that is the basic thing that I wanted to tell you. Now, in order to design a successful product, it is necessary that you need to understand the basics of what is this hardware is about. So let us get to know about our Genie first. So I have shown two variants, both the commercially available variant and the one that is designed by us. So I'll quickly tell you what are the differences of the two so that you can understand. So both these boards essentially has the powerful Genie here. So that is our microcontroller. The microcontroller which is used in this particular board is Atmega 328 microcontroller. Don't go too much into it. For you, it is a CPU, powerful CPU, which does the job for you. Next one is powering this board. There are two ways of powering this board. One way of powering this board is you can use USB and connect this one to personal computer and then power this board. That is first option. But the second option, you can use an adapter and then power this board. So that is the second option. You are also having a similar power adapter here in this board. This is the adapter board. And you are also having a USB at the bottom here. So that is tallied. And there is a power circuit in this board. There is also a power circuit in this board. The difference of power circuit of this board and this board is this particular device gives you power in only two possible outputs. Either you can get 5-volt output or you can get 3.3 volt output. You can get 5-volt output and 3.3 output voltage is here. Why we need those output voltages? We have seen a lot of devices here. We have seen a lot of LCD displays. So if you are using an LCD display in your application, then we cannot design a separate power circuit for that particular device. So we power that output devices directly from the board. So only for that we require these kind of power lines. So coming back to this board is an extremely flexible board when it comes to the power requirement, because we have designed this particular board with 3 power requirements or 3 power ranges. One, it supplies plus 5 volt DC. It supplies 3 of them. It uses 3.3 volt DC, again 3 of them. Not only that, it also gives you 12 volt DC line, which is again available 3 of them. So these 12 volt lines are necessary if you are controlling relays, motors, etc. If you are using a commercial board, probably you may have to go for external interfacing. This board supplies the 12 volt also, so that you don't have to connect anything external. So this is the advantage of using this board. So this board is having all the 3. So I'm not trying to market this board. I'm just giving you certain advantages and disadvantages. In case if you are designing a board for your own, these are the things that you have to take care of. There are 14 digital I/O pins available here, 0 to 13. So we connect all the input and output devices here. And similarly, we also have 14 of them available here. So there is no change. There is analog inputs, 6 of them. Analog means a continuously changing voltage. So that analog voltage, 6 of them can be supplied here. Again, there is no change. So digital, you have 14. Analog, you have 6. So both of them are available. This particular board has one onboard LED, light emitting diode. There is a small LED here. This particular board, what I am showing here on the right, has 2 LEDs. These are the 2 LEDs. So instead of 1, you have 2. In addition to LEDs, you have 2 switches here. So this board doesn't have any switches. And this board also has a Bluetooth connectivity on the right. So you can directly connect a Bluetooth device or any serial compatible device here directly, which you can inject over here. So these are all some of the additional provisions that we have given so that we can quickly deploy a product. But this is pretty much sufficient for designing a decent product. Probably if you are extending the product, you may have to connect something external, whereas this will eliminate that. So that is the advantage. We have designed this board exclusively for giving to all the students and faculty fraternity out there who are interested in designing new products and innovative products. And this board is exclusively designed for the Directorate of School Education, Government of Puducherry. We are engaged with them and we are in the process of deploying these boards to them. Second one comes how this particular board is going to communicate. Why should we communicate with this board? Only then we can do the programming part of it. So we can do the programming part of it and then you can put that program into this board. So for that, we need to connect this board with PC. So USB is the most opted choice here. So you take a USB cable, one end of the cable you connect it to PC, the other end of the cable you connect it to the Arduino board. Then the Arduino board can very well take the commands from the PC. So as a designer, I have to instruct the Genie what it has to do. So how do I instruct it? I write a piece of program and I put it inside that. I don't know how to do program. You don't have to, because there is nothing tedious here. That is what is the beauty of Arduino. What are the various variants of Arduino available in the market? There are lots and lots of variants available. What we are using today is Arduino Uno. That is the most widely used board. There are lots of other variants. This is an Arduino Mega board. This is an Arduino LilyPad board. And this is a Leonardo board. There are a lot of, this is Arduino Mini. So there are a lot of variants available. You can pick a board and you can use it, which means you can just pick a Arduino board depending upon your requirement. The beauty is all of them work the way this particular board is going to work, which means if you know how to use one particular board, rest of the boards can be used the same way. So there is nothing different. So what is the difference between this and this then? The only difference is it offers a lot of pins which you can connect a wide variety of IO devices and slightly a higher processing capability, which means it can compute at a faster rate. So that is the difference. So that is the first thing with respect to hardware. So what are all the things that you should know? So the important things that you should know is how to connect and how to power this board. So that is number one. Number two, where is the CPU? Number three, where are the digital IO pins available? I have totally 14 digital IO pins available. What is the use of these digital IO pins? This is where we connect our input devices and output devices. And we have 6 analog pins. Why these analog pins are used? That is where we connect our sensors. Analog pins are the places where we connect our sensors and we collect. Why should we need the sensor? Sensor is necessary for the Genie to know what is happening around it. Say, for example, in a washing machine, if you are setting a hot wash, the Genie should know what is the temperature of the water. So it should have a temperature sensor inside. Similarly, if you are using a gas detector, there is a gas sensor which detects the gas leakage. If you are using a temperature sensor, it senses temperature of the room. In the water meter example, we used a flow sensor to detect what is the flow of water. So depending upon your application, you should have a lot of sensors. And these are the analog pins where we connect our sensors. So that is how it is. So this basic information is sufficient. Second thing, once you know the hardware part, the next thing is you should know how to command this fellow, how to give job for this fellow. In the very initial part of this lecture, I told you important concept. The power of this particular Genie is not limited by the ability of the Genie, but by your ability to give command to that Genie. So that is the important concept that you have to understand, which means the power of this particular device is not limited by its capability, but your capability of how to command it, which means the better you command it, the better the Genie will perform for you. That is what it is. So how do I command the Genie? Arduino gives you a built-in software called Integrated Development Environment, IDE. So this is where we write our commands. And whatever we write in the PC is communicated to our Arduino board via USB cable. So this is the platform where we develop our code. We write our commands, we check them. Once we found them okay, we connect an USB board to our Arduino board, and then we download that code. Then it is immediately operational. So that is the process of commanding the Genie. That is the process of writing program for the Genie. So what are the important settings that you have to do? So this particular software can be downloaded from the Arduino website. So you go to Arduino website and then download the latest Arduino IDE, and then you install it. The moment you install it, the window will open like this. So this is the place where we design our commands for our machine. This is where we pass on our information to our machine. So the moment you connect it, go to tools, select which ID board you are using. So we are using Arduino Uno. Okay, that is the first thing you do. Once you do that, then it is a process of commanding your Genie. So there are 5 important steps that you need to follow in order to take control over that Genie and control that particular microcontroller. So what are the 5 important steps that you have to understand? So if you doesn't know any coding before, if you have not done any programming before, these are the 5 important concepts that you have to understand. Number 1, this Genie speaks a binary language, which means it can either say yes or no. It can either say true or false. It can either give you a value of 1 or it can give you a value of 0. This is called binary. Binary means it can have only 2 possible states, either a 1 or a 0, true or a false, yes or a no. This is how the Genie speaks. There is no problem if the Genie is speaking binary language, but the problem is the Genie also expects the command to be given in the same format, which means you as a master of this Genie, when you are commanding the Genie, it also expects the commands in the binary formats 0 1 0 1 1 1 0. So this is something which you are not very convenient with, you are not very comfortable with. Okay, that is where these compilers come. So once you do your coding, you do your commands in a language that you are convenient with, typically in C or C++. Don't worry that you need not have to know the full depth of C for doing this. If you know 4 or 5 lines, that is good enough. Once you do the coding here and deposit that coding to this IDE, the IDE takes care of converting that into a format that this Genie will respond for. So this process of converting your C code or your high level code into a binary code that the Genie can understand is compilation. That is done internally by the Arduino software platform itself. So I am the master. So I am giving some commands to this Genie, but the Genie doesn't understand my language. The only language that this Genie can understand is only zeros and ones. So how am I going to give that zeros and ones? Because that is something that I don't know. So I employ a middleman in between. That middleman, we call it as a compiler. So what is this compiler does? It takes the commands from me and converts it in a format that this Genie can understand. So that is the first thing that you have to understand. The Genie here speaks binary language. He doesn't understand our language. That is the first thing. Number 2, the Genie expects very clear commands from you. The Genie is very powerful, there is no doubt, but it is not so smart. Okay, meaning you cannot assume things with this Genie. Let me give you a small example. I am having a small apple on top of this table. I am asking this Genie to fetch that particular apple. Let us say, if I issue a command like fetch the apple, it is an insignificant command for that particular Genie. Insignificant command means what? This particular command doesn't have any clarity to the Genie. Fetch the apple means what? It can fetch any apple. It is so powerful that it can go and fetch some other apple and then come and give it to you. So if you want this apple to be available to you, to be given by the genie, you have to explicitly tell the genie how it has to fetch. So I decompose this entire statement into 4 steps. Number 1, I'll ask the genie to go to the table, take the apple, come to me, and hand over the apple to me. So this is how I would instruct this particular genie if I want the genie to fetch this apple, instead of giving a one-line command for this, because genies are not smart devices. They interpret your command in a different way. So if you want your genie to perform the way you want, the command has to be given in an explicit format. So that is something that you have to understand. So these are the 2 important things. So the way in which we decompose this are called instructions. So these instructions we offer one by one and tell the genie what it has to do. So this instructions, group of instructions, we call that as code or program. A code or a program is group of instruction that I issue to this genie to perform a specific operation, and I have to do that in an explicit format, not in a implicit or an assumed format, which the genie cannot understand. That is the first thing. Second thing, the genie is having a powerful memory inside. Genies can always remember whatever you want that fellow to remember. Okay, you can make the genie to remember certain things, and you can always recollect it whenever you want. Say for example, I am asking the genie to remember these 3 important things. Hey genie, remember these facts. Number 1, there are 3 apples here, so number equal to 3. I also ask the genie to remember the weight of the total apples is equal to 320.52 grams. The total weight of all the 3 apples is 320.52 grams. And the color of these apples is equal to red in color. So I want the genie to remember all these 3 information. So how the genie will remember these 3 information? It is expecting a name for all the 3 information that you want. If you are telling the genie to remember certain things, make sure that the information is associated with a name. In this case, this 3 is associated with the name called number. This 320.52 is the data that I want my genie to remember, that is associated with the name called weight. This red is the information that I want the genie to remember. I am giving a name called color. So these names, whatever I am giving, are called variables. Okay, so these variables are the ones which collect the information, and once you give this information to the genie will remember them and then fetch that information whenever you want it. Okay, so genies are, powerful machines which you can remember data with extensive amount of memory that it has. Okay, so genies are smart that way. It can remember data and it can fetch the information and it can give you whenever you want. Only thing is, whenever you are giving information to the genie, associate the information with a variable name. Why we associate the information with a variable name? So that it is easy for you when you retrieve it. Later on, when I retrieve the information from the genie, I ask genie what is the color of the apple, then immediately genie will return back with the red answer. So in order to retrieve the information, it is essential that you put the information in a proper format. So that is what we mean by variables. So that is the second information that you should know. Third information is, you should also help the genie to decision making. Decision making means what? I told you already, this genie is a device that is an extensive, powerful machine, but it is not a smart device, which means it cannot take decisions on its own. So you have to help the genie to take the decision. How am I going to help the genie to take decisions? Say, for example, I am asking the genie to do this job. Hey genie, I am having apples on top of the table. Take the apple, or you in general I'll define as take the apple. That is the first thing you do. Second thing is, if the weight of the apple is above 100 grams, you put the apple in the pink box. If the weight is above 100 grams, you put the apple in the pink box. If the weight of the apple is less than 100 grams, you put the apple in the blue box. That is the command I give. So in this case, what the genie will do? The genie will take the fruit and it will examine the weight. If the weight is above 100 grams, it will put the apple in one particular basket. If the weight is less than 100 grams, it will put the apple in some other basket. Now, this is what we mean by decision making. Decision making is normally done in programming languages by using if statements. If something is true, do this set of statements, else do something else. This syntax would vary from programming language to programming language. If you don't know anything about it, doesn't matter. But decision making is an act of allowing the genie to take a decision based on a specific condition. In this case, what is the condition? If the weight of the fruit is above 100 grams, do something, which is putting the fruit in this basket. If the weight of the fruit is less than 100 grams, put in a different basket. So that is what we mean by decision making. Decision making means based on a specific condition, the genie is making a decision and taking something. But this decision making is something that we have to impart to the genie. We have to tell the genie how to take the decision. Because it is a dumb device, it is a powerful device, but it cannot take on its own decisions. We have to tell them how it has to do. So we do decision making for the genie by using if statements. That is the third thing. Fourth thing, very often we will ask the genie to do certain things repeatedly for fixed number of times. In the previous example, I asked the genie to take the apple, and if the apple weight is less than if the apple weight is less than 100 grams, the apple should be put inside this blue basket. If the weight is above 100 grams, I want the apple to be put inside the pink basket. So this is the operation that I want the genie to do. Now I am giving the genie a new condition that you do this entire operation for 20 apples, which means this entire operation will be done by the genie by 20 apples, which means the entire operation will be repeated for 20 times. So it will take one apple, it will see the weight, and then put that apple in one box. It will take the second apple, do the same thing, and then put it in the corresponding box. Like that, it will do only 20 apples. Why? Because I have instructed the genie to do a looping operation for 20 times. Looping operations in programming languages are done by using loops. One way of using is by using a for loop. The other one is by using a while loop. But don't worry about that. Loops means it is a way of instructing the genie to performing a block of code or block of segment of instructions. In this case, what are the segment of instructions? This is the set of instructions. This set of instructions have to be repeated for fixed number of times. So the genie will repeat it fixed number of times. So that is what it is. Last one, you can block group of instructions together. Say for example, I am taking the decision of if the weight of the apple is greater than 100 grams, do putting the apple in the pink box. If it is less than 100 grams, put the apple in the blue box. So I want to repeat this block of code for more than one times. I am asking the genie to do that in the morning session. I am asking the genie to do the same thing in the afternoon session. I'm also asking the genie to do that in the same thing in the evening session. So I'm repeating the same set of codes again and again, over and over. Instead of rewriting the same set of instructions again and again, I can block them together, and I call them as a special name in programming languages. Some of them call as functions, some of them call them as methods, or in whatever name you call. But blocking or grouping means If you are repeating block of statements again and again over and over in your instructions to the Genie, you can block them together and you can reuse them again and again. So this block of code, we call it as functions in high level languages, where a fixed set of code is written once and then it is called again and again. So that is what it is. So these are the 5 important concepts that you have to understand. I repeat them once again. The first one, Genies or microcontrollers speak the binary language. They never speak anything other than zeros and ones. Number 2, you cannot expect a Genie to understand the vague command that you give. You have to very clear in giving the instructions to the Genie. Those group of instructions, we call them as programs. Number 2, Genies are extensive, extremely smart in terms of remembering the information. So you can ask the Genie to remember whatever the information that you want. But the way in which you want the Genie to remember information is you always associate the information with a variable name. So you ask the Genie to associate certain thing with a variable name, and whenever you want the information back, you give that you give that variable to the Genie, and the Genie will return the value back. That is the second thing. The third thing is decision making. Decision making will help the Genie to take a decision on your behalf. So you are telling the Genie, in case you encounter this situation, you act like this. In case if you encounter some other situation, you do something else. So this is something that you have to teach the Genie at the initial stage itself. Otherwise, it will be confused and it will never do anything as per your expectation. Fourth one, called looping. Looping is a process of telling the Genie to loop a certain set of operations more fixed number of times. I wanted to repeat it 10 times or 20 times or 1,000 times or whatever number of times you want. That technique is called looping. Looping is a way of making the Genie to perform certain block of source code for more number of times. And last but not the least, if you are having a block of code that is getting repeated many number of times, you are asking the Genie to do the same thing over and over again and again, it is better that you block that code as a separate segment of code and call that as a separate name. So that block of code, we put it in a separate name, is called function or a method, depending upon the programming choice that you use. So these are the 5 important concepts that you have to understand here. So now comes the last part, which is actually the coding part of the Arduino. For coding the Arduino, it is necessary that you take the Arduino board and connect that Arduino board with your personal computer, and then you interface that personal computer with the USB cable. And the moment you connect the Arduino board with the USB cable, this particular machine, which is your PC, will automatically detect your Arduino board, and you use your Arduino IDE for developing your commands, and then download that source code into this particular device, and then this particular device becomes immediately operational. Okay, let us see some examples of how to do that. Before that, the moment you connect your Arduino IDE or the Arduino platform, it will give you 2 important places. One is called a setup, the other one is called loop. Okay, so these are the 2 places where you have to write your commands. So you are the designer, you are the master of this Genie, so you are planning to command this Genie. So where will you write the code? You have to write the code in these 2 places. So what should I write here in the setup? What should I write in the loop? In the setup part, I write the source code which I want the Genie to run only once. Whatever I want the Genie to run only once, I put it in the setup part. Whatever the code that I want my Genie to execute indefinitely for multiple number of times, I put it in the loop part. So whatever I put here, the Genie will execute till I put off the power, till the Genie goes inside the lamp again. Whatever I put here, the Genie will execute only once. So these are the 2 segments of source code, are the 2 places where you are supposed to write the source code. Okay. Let us, instead of doing a manual thing, let us try and connect something and see how it works. So at this point, I would like to know whether all of you are with me. You are able to understand something what is going on. Okay. Now let us take a small code and then check it and then validate it. So this is your Arduino platform. So once you have installed your Arduino platform, once you double click that, it will invoke you a window like this. So let me do one thing for you. So this is the code. So the moment you connect the open the Arduino IDE, so this is what it would look like. So this is the setup part. This is the loop part. So in the setup part, what should you write? Whatever you want the microcontroller or the Genie to execute only once, you write it here. So the very first line of code that I would write here is to set the pin mode. So what is the problem that you are solving here? Let me give you a sample problem before I write the source code for it, so that you get an idea of what I am trying to do here. So I take a small light emitting diode, and then I connect that light emitting diode to pin number 13, and then blink that particular light emitting diode. So that is what I wanted to do here. So let me explain you what I am trying to do here. So there is a small light emitting diode in the board. So this is connected to pin number 13. So this is my pin number 13. So in this pin, this LED is connected. So I want this particular LED to go on and off. So a small blink program that I wanted to do. That is the very first program that mostly people will start with before they use Arduino platform. So what I do, I turn the LED on and wait for some time, and I turn the LED off, again wait for some time, and I repeat this indefinitely. So this is what I want my Genie to do. So I want my Genie to turn the device on and wait for a certain time, and then I turn the LED off and again wait for some time, and I repeat this. So this is what I want to do. So for doing this, I want to give instructions to the Genie. So what is the first instruction I do? I give in the setup part. The first instruction I do is pin mode function. So this pin mode will tell the Genie that I am going to use pin number 13 for output. So 13th pin is configured as output. Why output? Because I am planning to connect a light emitting diode or a small output device. You should understand the same pin can be used both for input as well as output. So in this case, I want 13th pin to be used as output. So that is the only line that I use it. In the loop section, what I do, so I am making the Genie to turn the LED on and off. So how do I make the Genie to turn the LED on? This is the function I use. Digital write, which pin? 13th pin. I write a value of 1. Once I write the value of 1, the LED will go on. After I make the LED on, I wait for a certain amount of time. So I call a delay function. I pass 1000 as parameter. 1000 means 1000 milliseconds. A millisecond is 1,000th of a second. So if I pass 1000 milliseconds, it will give me a delay of 1 second. So I want 1 second delay. So after I turn the LED on, I wait for 1 second. Then I turn the LED off. So how do I do it? Again, digital write. 13th pin. I put off the LED. Writing a 0 will put off the LED. And then after putting off the LED, I again call a delay program. And I wait for 1000 millisecond. So once you write the program, before you pass on this information to Genie, it is necessary that you verify it first. So in the top left, there is an icon for verifying it. Before that, you should save this. So I am just creating a folder, LED. I call this name as LED, and then I give the program name as LED, and then I save it. Once you save this program, you need to compile this. Once you compile it, it is time for you to upload the source code to the board. Before that, you make sure that whether your board is available. You go to tools in the port, you check whether your board is connected. In this case, it is connected to COM3. So once that is available, then you click to upload. So once you click upload, the source code will be automatically downloaded by your to your board. Then the Genie will wake up, it will automatically do the job for you. So I am just showing you the the LED which is blinking on the board. I'm not sure whether how many of you are able to see that LED blinking, but there is a small LED in the board which is blinking with 1 second delay. For 1 second it is on, and for 1 second it is off. As simple as that. Okay. So is it visible for you all? Okay. So probably this may yes. So this is the LED which is blinking on and off for 1 second. Now let us do some trick here. Okay, so this 1 second delay is extremely large, I am seeing. So what I am doing, I am reducing the time from 1000 millisecond to 100 millisecond, let us say. So 100 millisecond is 1/10 of a second. So I just again upload this again. It is a matter of clicking a single button. So once you're done, it is done. Now if you see the output, the LED is now blinking at a faster rate. Now you see that earlier it was blinking at 1 second. Now it is blinking at 100 millisecond, which is 1/10 of a second. Oh yeah, 1/10 of a second. Is that clear? Right. Now in this case, let me try something else. I want the Genie to give some information to PC. So for that, I want the Genie to communicate with the PC via serial port. So serial.begin 9600. 9600 is the baud rate or the speed in which the Genie communicates data. Don't worry about all these things. In this case, simply serial port, you open the serial port. In this case, you are simply opening a communication channel between the PC and the hardware. So serial dot print line I'm sending you a message. Thank you for participating, or thank you for your attendance. Okay, so that is the message that I want my Genie to give to the PC. So how often I want that? I want that to be available every 1 second, let us say. So I don't want this unnecessary things. I just remove them. I just keep a 1 second delay alone. So I want the Genie to send this message to you. Every 1 second I want the Genie to send thank you for your attendance message. So probably the delay is too high, so I'll just too low. I'll just increase the delay for 1 second, and then I download it again. So you can see that it is printing the message every 1 second. So in this case, the Genie is giving data to PC. the information that I wanted is this. So I can keep on take a lot of problems. In fact, I give you loads of problems, but considering time, I stop my presentation here. What I wanted to communicate to you is this powerful board, whatever you have, is pretty powerful in doing a lot of innovative products for giving solutions to customers, and then come out with interesting problems which can really make a difference to a lot of people. So I take this opportunity to extend this wish to all the teaching fraternity out there, especially the teaching members, both from schools and colleges. Kindly engage with us and take this particular innovation culture to your particular institute. If you want, we can supply these boards to you. We can even custom made this board to your institute name and give it to you. That will give you some kind of brand value. So if you want that way, that is also possible. Take this board and then spread the word to your faculty and students, and you sit together and you collaborate with your students, and then both of you come out with a lot of interesting products which you really think that which can make a difference to the world. And if you think that this particular product really has a value and it can really make a difference to somebody, please knock our door, and we are there, and we can always help you to, first of all, validate whether you are doing something which is really worth doing or it is a hobby project. And if it's really worth doing and it really has some value to customers, then we will take you to convert that particular product to market, and then we'll really convert that into a commercial grade product, and will help you always do. And I am just happy to share the contact details of our CEO, Mr. Vishnu Vardhan. You can get the contact information from website as well. I wish all of you to visit our website, which is www.aicpecfoundation.org. So my CEO is Mr. Vishnu Vardhan. His contact details are available here. So you can please get in touch with him, especially the academic partners, colleges and schools. You can get in touch with Mr. Vishnu and then ask for an MOU. Once you get an MOU signed, we can do a lot of collaborative programs like what we did today. Today, one of our academic partner is joining hands with us for taking part in this training program. So likewise, you can do engagement with a lot of training programs with us, and you can do a lot of collaborative product development, and we can do a lot of interesting stuff. That is for academic partners. For industrial partners and mentors out there, I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to be a part of our incubation center and join hands with us to help the budding entrepreneurs, so that your expertise and your experience can be used for the sake of promoting and helping these budding entrepreneurs. So that is something that I wanted to tell you. And for the student community, kindly register yourself as a free member. You are not going to be charged for anything. That includes your industry and academic partners. We are a government funded incubation center, which means we have a mandate to promote innovation in your institute. So but the initiative has to be done from your side. So you have to come and knock us. So once you engage with us, we can do a lot of interesting things in future. Before I conclude, there is a small piece of information that I wanted to share you. There are two things given there. One is a question and answer link, which should be opened by this time. So you can open that question and answer link, and you can submit if you have any questions that you had. I'm sorry, I cannot take questions online because of the mechanism in which we are delivering here, because of the live streaming. You can post your questions and then you can submit it. Your questions will reach us, and I will immediately answer your questions direct to your inbox. That will anyway happen. That is number one. Number two, I expect all the participants and request all of them to submit your valuable feedback, so that it will be helpful for us to fine tune ourselves and help us to give you a better training program or a skill development program or a webinar or a workshop like this in future in a better way. So that is something that is also available in the description box. The third thing is those participants who are in need of a e-certificate should take a small quiz program. The quiz program will be from the questions for this quiz program will be taken from this webinar. The content that we discussed just now. So you can watch this video. It is going to be available in live. So you can just watch that once again and then take that quiz program. The important requirement for taking quiz program is before you take the quiz program, make sure that you have registered upfront, because we want your registration data to prepare your certificates. In case if you have not registered, please do register by going to our website and then take the quiz program. So once you complete the quiz program along with your grade, you will be getting your e-certificates tomorrow or day after tomorrow. That is something that I wanted to tell you. Before I conclude my session, I would like to thank the partners, the academic partners who are engaged with us, and the government of Puducherry, Department of School Education and its director and his team for joining hands with us for doing this program. And through this program, I'm also giving you an information that in the next week, we are conducting a program on 3D printing the same day, Wednesday. We will float the information to all of you. We are engaging a 3D printing manufacturer from the United States. So he's a person with 30 years of experience in this field. So you can get, I'm also of course joining with him. So you can just get a huge amount of information with regard to how to use 3D printers, etc. Week after next, we are giving a online workshop on how to design drones and quadcopters using the Genie that we discussed just now. So again, the information will be available to you. If you are interested, please take part in that. And after that, we are planning to offer another online workshop on Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a much powerful Genie than our Arduino. We can do much more powerful things than this Genie can do. What I have portrayed today is a very small information. There are huge amount of information available in the YouTube and other information in the website. What I have given you today is a small, trigger, so that you can take this trigger and move things forward. Even a big rocket requires a small trigger. So that is what I have done today. Hope this session was useful and created some value to you. Thank you for joining. And on behalf of Pondicherry Engineering College and on behalf of Atal Incubation Center, I take this opportunity to thank you one and all for participating in this. And I welcome all of you, and I wish all of you to take part in this innovation program and do wonderful things in future. All the very best. Thank you.